Good morning, Lakeside. My name is Evan Meyers.
And my name is Carson Burnham.
And welcome back to the 7th episode of RAM Review.
Are you interested in pursuing a career in education or a related field? Then the Educators of Tomorrow is the club for you. Swing by Miss Kennedy's room for more details.
Now let's take a look at one of the clubs here at Lakeside that teaches students valuable life skills.
FGA is a club that we are starting to help kids learn more life skills that we don't get from our standard education. Our team kind of noticed we weren't getting a lot of the skills that we knew we'd need later on, and we felt that this was a need that was school-wide.
Well, we're gonna go through a lot of different activities. They're gonna experience things like simple things like how to file your taxes, how to get a loan, how to create a resume, anything that's needed. All the other clubs seem to focus on one thing, like one specific thing, but FGA is kind of a broadened thing. We are gonna go over multiple things, kind of whatever the student body needs.
I want it to be a club for them, by them. It was their idea, and they're the driving force behind it. So I think it will be as impactful as any other club because they're the ones who get to choose and make it their own. They can really focus in on things that they think are important. And I think it's important because it empowers them to do that.
A lot more students need to be given that chance and opportunity to experience or feel prepared after high school.
If you think you'd be interested in the Future Generations of America Club, come by Mr. Nixon's room on Wednesday during lunchtime for the club's first meeting.
Evan, I think you could really learn some things in that club.
No. If you're interested in joining the Senior High Math Club, make sure to visit your local math teacher. Hurry though, because deadlines are tomorrow, September 30th.
Evan, do you smell something cooking?
No.
Well, I do. Let's take a look at one of the finest pizzerias here in Hot Springs.
It was completely wrecked, and it was full of musical instruments because we bought it from Joe Davis, and it was Davis Piano Shop. He had it since the late 50s and had it full of instruments that he either couldn't repair or had given up on or just couldn't get to.
Certain other elements are original, like the metal ceiling. It was the original pressed tin ceiling, but of course it had been damaged enough. We pulled out all the metal panels from the brewery and the kitchen areas, and we used them to patch up the paneling throughout the other rooms.
We thought about the brewery and we thought about the radio station, but then it just seemed obvious that the thing you would do with that is have pizza, because that's a win. And even though there were a lot of pizza restaurants in Hot Springs, it seemed, I didn't feel like anyone was doing it the way I would have done it, and it turns out that having another take on pizza was completely welcome.
Yeah, you know, we make a cold fermented dough. We'll put the dough up, and it actually sits in the fridge for a couple days and ferments after it's been formed into balls. And so it's got that cold flavor. And then we cook it right on the stone and in a hot oven. You know, we always reckoned that pizza really speaks for itself. All you got to do is not mess it up. And so by getting, good ingredients and putting it together, we just try and put out the food that we'd want to eat. Well, we started the radio station in advance of the 2013 filing window for the FCC. We had owned the building for a little while and didn't have a great concept of what we're going to do with it. And then when we heard about the filing window, it all sort of fell into place, a dream I had from another lifetime. And we decided we were going to put in the radio station, build it with a restaurant, a brewery, and make it one sort of like community locus for people to come and eat and drink and listen to music and discuss issues and that sort of thing.
Mamma Mia.
The fall season for Arkansas esports begins soon. If you're interested in participating, visit Mr. Lee in room 116.
Everyone can agree that school is getting a lot more difficult, putting a lot of stress on us, the students. Let's find out how this affects us with this next segment.
The feeling of being stressed is one many can relate to, especially in high school. Around half of all Americans deal with moderate to severe stress. In our school alone, 85% of people from a pool of 130, ranging from 8th graders all the way up to seniors, said that they deal with stress to some degree. High schoolers deal with just about the same amount of stress as the average working adult. However, teenagers have access to a smaller range of coping mechanisms. Just about everything in a high schooler's life imposes some amount of stress. Varying from college preparation to parental pressure, if left unchecked, the stress can add up over time and become a big issue.
I can tell you that when I first started teaching, there really weren't a lot of discussions about mental health, about students who have anxiety disorders or other types of issues that they were dealing with. And in the years that I've been here, I've noticed an increase.
We're in this weird position where we have to try to get people out of their comfort zones, but at the same time not stress them out, right? So it's a weird balancing act that we have to try to get accomplished.
I feel like there's a base anxiety for pretty much every high schooler.
It's kind of a taboo subject, so it's kept under wraps most times in most places.
I think school can be a very positive thing for mental health, but I also think that it can swing all the way to being a very difficult thing and very negative for some of our students.
Adult teens, no matter what stage you are, even my little kids, everybody has something that's going on.
I think it's growing. I think that more students have difficulty in some ways, and so I think that we have to be very mindful of that.
I think that it's something they think about, but it's not something that's thought about over other things.
I think they just really don't know what to do if something happens. It's a confusing situation that they've never really been put in.
We have to be, I think, better at helping people express when they are feeling, maybe sooner, than you want to get to things before they become a crisis.
I feel like the teachers, they went through school, so I feel like they have an understanding, but also I feel like their schooling wasn't as crazy as ours is now.
Back in my day of school, the classes that I took and the rigorous course load that students take now didn't happen as often. Now it is pushing our students to the max, getting those rigorous course loads, those rigorous classes, getting them ready for college and for the workforce is a high priority. So there's, in turn, that's a lot of stress on our students.
Right now I'm a full-time student and I'm starting to get college stuff done, and I'm taking a few AP classes.
I think perhaps there's more academic pressure that causes some mental issues or causes students anxiety in particular with the older students.
I'm in 4 AP classes, so whenever I go home, I try to get as much as I can done, but sometimes it's very overwhelming.
I'd like to think I have free time, but at the end of the day I'm stressing because I feel like I don't have enough time.
It's gotten worse enough to make me physically sick.
Lakeside, we want our students to be successful in a career and in college, and for us to get our students ready, we have to push them with the different courses that they need so they are prepared when they graduate from high school to get into the workforce or go into a college in their field of their choosing.
It's okay if you don't always make an A. It's okay if you're not always at the top. That's not realistic to have that expectation all the time, and you put a lot of pressure on yourself when you do that.
School is fast-paced. School is every day. And yeah, we get breaks every now and then, but sometimes waiting for them breaks, is a little difficult. If you don't have ways to cope with your stress or to, go ahead and practice self-care to prevent some of the stressors, a lot of times that's where people crumble.
I know some students who would rather try to shoulder through stress by themselves, but oftentimes, you're going to need somebody to lean on eventually, and I think the students who are most successful in dealing with their stress find someone or a group of people that they can really rely on.
Whatever it is you're experiencing, you really need to let someone know that you can trust, whether that's a teacher, a family member, but someone that you can go to.
Finding friends that do care about me and the kind of people that not only enjoy my company, but I also enjoy theirs. And so having that mutual relationships having those mutual relationships definitely help.
Find some time for yourself. Find some time for your passions. It's not all about school.
Like taking mental health days. I used to take those last year because that was when I was like really anxious and I had a lot of depression going on. And I would take a day off, and it would be considered an absence, which stressed me out more. But I just needed that day to like recharge and get myself better.
I think that people need to understand, which teachers are good about understanding, that like they're just as important as like sick days.
I think people are working to end the stigma of, mental health being like only for people who are crazy, because that's not true at all.
Over the years, stress has become a much less stigmatized topic to speak out about. With how common stress is among teens, finding an outlet is especially important. Having people to go to and rely on can make a big difference when it comes to managing stress.
Stress is not uncommon amongst teenagers. If you're feeling overwhelmed, reach out.
If you're interested in joining the Young Democrats, make sure you attend the meeting tomorrow the 30th during first lunch in room 101.
Let's see how well we really know our teachers here at Lakeside High School with this next segment.
These are my Truth or Lies, brought to you by Coach Jolly and Isabella Oseguera. I have been to over 150 concerts in my life. I have driven a car over 150 miles per hour in my life, and I have broken 12 bones in my life. What is the lie?
I'm going to say the 12 bones one.
I have actually been to 162 concerts in my life. I've never driven a car 150 miles per hour, only 130 miles per hour, and I have broken 12 bones in my life. All fingers and all foot.
Okay, so first of all, I was a really, really good student and very well behaved in high school. Secondly, I was super fast. I was the anchor leg for the mile relay and the record holder for the 400 meter. And thirdly, I was voted best actress my senior year.
The best actress is a lie.
Okay, so I was a good student, but I wasn't super well behaved. I spent most of my senior year in detention, and we won't say why.
Okay, so my 3 things are, first of all, I've part of a hot air balloon chase crew where I get to either ride in the hot air balloon or we chase the hot air balloon around for wherever it lands, and we have to find our way through the streets, which is kind of interesting. Also, when years ago for a birthday, this is a birthday one, I was actually on The Tonight Show in a skit. So I actually was not in the audience, but I was actually on The Tonight Show in a skit. So that was a lot of fun. That was for my 30th birthday. And for my 40th birthday, I was given a ticket where I did a skydiving thing where I got to jump. I got to go through a class, and I did a tandem skydiving thing. So that was a lot of fun, too. So my birthdays were pretty cool.
I guess if I had to pick, I'd pick the hot air balloon one, because that one seems kind of crazy.
The skydiving one is a lie.
Wait, so you were on the Tonight Show?
I was on the Tonight Show. I was vacationing in Chicago, and they were there filming in Chicago for like a week. And I'm walking down the road, and this van opens up, and these people pile out with cameras, and they say, "Would you like to be on a skit on the Tonight Show?" And I said, "Absolutely."
I guess we didn't know as much as we thought about our teachers here at Lakeside.
Congratulations to the golf team for their performance at conference.
And congratulations to all the students that made homecoming court.
Funding for this broadcast was brought to you by Relyance Bank.
My name's Evan Meyers.
And my name is Carson Burnham.
And we'll see you next time on the Rain Review.